Hey everybody, it's Jamie. And today's video is going to be a book review slash suggestion. There's 3 things that everyone should know about me, and it is 1, I love to wear shorts, 2, I love to swim, and 3, I love to read. Reading, I've loved to read since like the beginning of time, and it's great. It's amazing. It has shaped and formed me in so many ways, especially Harry Potter, Lord of the Rings, all those big things, plus little books that a lot of people have never heard of. I feel reading exposes you to so many new feelings and types of relationships and types of situations that maybe not everybody's gonna get in real life. So let's get started. So I'm currently on my spring break, and whenever I come home from school, I can finally read what I want to read and not what I've been assigned. So I actually ended up getting a bunch of books for Christmas. One of them I think I've talked about, and it is the book 4, which is basically a bunch of little short snippets of the first book, Divergent, told through 4's point of view, like scenes from what before he joined Dauntless to when he joined Dauntless and things like that. And it's really cool because you get to learn about more of the characters, especially one of my favorite characters, Eric. And you just get to learn more about 4 and his relationship with everybody and how he got to where he is. And it's really great. I think it's like 284 pages. If you have seen the movie Divergent or have read at least the first book, then definitely give this a read. It's really good. It's really interesting to see 4's point of view in very significant moments, especially when he first meets Triss, and also his relationship with Eric and why Eric and him always feel like beating the crap out of each other. The next book that I read, which I started reading over Christmas, and I think I had maybe like 20 pages left, and I never got around to finishing it until yesterday, and it is the If I Stay. Now this one is the collection which comes with both If I Stay and Where She Went. I have yet to start Where She Went, but I read If I Stay, and I wanted to read it before I saw the movie, but I never got around to it, so I read it after I saw the movie because the movie was really good. And I have to say, from like book to movie, it is a very, very good job. They kept really true to the book. They left out a lot of things that I was just like, ugh. So if you like the movie or anything like that, if you like The Fault in Our Stars, I feel like you'll like this one as well. And it's great. It's not necessarily a love story. It's mainly about her and flashbacks she's seen, people she cares about, and her relationship to her parents, her boyfriend, everything. And it is so good. And it really, I don't know, for me it really kind of puts perspective of my life, kind of like, if this happened to me, what would I be thinking about? So it's really good. It's not very big. The only reason I'm not taking it out of the case is because it's a real pain in the butt to put it back in this cardboard case. But there again, it's probably like, I don't know, 300 pages. It's a real easy read. It doesn't go by chapters, which is kind of strange. It goes by like days and time. But it also kind of puts in, because it's like a minute-to-minute thinking, not over a span of a year like Harry Potter, or, you know, a span over a few months like Fault in Our Stars. It's like within, I think, a few days, she's just thinking about all these things, and she goes through flashbacks of certain days of her life. It's really good. I really can't wait to read Where She Went, because the movie, if you saw the movie, it just cuts you off as soon as she wakes up out of a coma, and that's it. So I'm really anxious to see what happens. The next 2 books I have just finished reading. I read them over the weekend, and they're pretty freaking amazing. I don't know. We'll talk about the first one. The first one is Girl Online by fellow YouTuber Zoella. If you don't know who Zoella is, then you've been living under a rock. She wrote a book, I think it came out last November, I think is when it came out, and it's called Girl Online. And it's about this girl, and she has a blog, and she goes basically on the trip of a lifetime to New York, and she meets this guy, and she doesn't know who he is, and then it turns out he's like way famous, like YouTube famous. So it's a very good book for like people who are watching this who are really into YouTube, because it does talk about like people being famous over YouTube, people like she kind of writes a diary, but it's a blog, so she's an anonymous blogger, and she tells the world how she feels, and she has a bunch of followers, and it's really cool. And it's also a really good love story. It kind of reminds me of how things go in my head, so it's very relatable, down to earth, and I really like it. And I remember there was rumors going around because they had some ghostwriters working with her and stuff, but when you read it, you really feel like it is Zoe. It's like, or at least from her YouTube persona, it really feels like her. It's very her. It's super cute, and I think this is like 400 pages? Maybe not. 350 pages. I read it in a day, and I really hope she's writing a second one. I'm not too sure, but I think she is. And I'm freaking excited because it ends really nicely, like on a happy note, so if there wasn't a second one, it wouldn't be that big of a deal, but I really, 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 really want a second one. And I remember when she was writing this, and she said she wanted to talk about something that she knows about, which is anxiety, and it's really prevalent in this book, which I feel like it's a good thing, because I feel like even if you don't have anxiety all the time, you will still recognize like these little things, and like, I don't know, she explains it very visually and very well. And I really hope that this helps girls out there, or guys, everybody with anxiety, to realize that it can be dealt with and that life goes on, and you have to live it anyways. Really cute. It's really, really cute. Like, this would make a really good movie. Or even like yeah, I think a movie. I don't think it would survive as a TV show, but definitely a really good movie. And I honestly, I can't wait. It's so good. I don't want to give too much away, besides the fact that I basically explained the plot, but it's about a girl in high school, which I am not in high school. I am been out of high school for about 3 years, but I still find it very relatable. If you're not into like even remotely romantic things, don't read it, but it's cute. I love it. I love the fact that it deals with so many modern day things, like the internet, like YouTube, like blogs, all of that jazz. So if you're just into YouTube and you want to read a book that has to deal with YouTube, definitely give this a read. And the last book, which I have read, I think it took me 2 days because I had other things to do, is the Blood of Olympus by Rick Riordan? Riordan? I don't know how to say his last name. But basically, it's the continuation of the Percy Jackson and the Olympians, and it's the Heroes of Olympus. It is the 5th book in the Heroes of Olympus, and the end of the series, and oh my gosh, it was such a good book. It's really big, but I think all of his books in this series are. It's about 500 pages. It is so good. If you loved Percy Jackson and you haven't given the Heroes of Olympus series a read because you're like, no, Percy Jackson was great and it was the best, blah, 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 I highly recommend you to give this series a read, especially just to get to this one. The only drawback about reading this is because you have to juggle characters in your head, because it'll go from Percy Jackson's point of view to Annabeth's point of view to Jason's point of view to Leo's point of view. It goes through a lot of point of views. There's 7 heroes of Olympus that it goes through, plus I think 2 other characters, which is Raina and Nico. And sometimes it gets a little much, because I don't know about you guys, but when I read and I get into that mode of reading, I just read. And you have to remember to, at least I do, like switch voices in your head. So you're like, okay, I'm reading through Nico, and then I'll be reading a chapter and I'm like, this doesn't sound like Nico, but it's actually like Annabeth. And I'm like, oh, forgot to switch characters in my head. So that's the only thing that gave me a little trouble at times, just switching between characters. But this series is so good. I'm really glad they kept basically all the Percy Jackson characters except the ones who are dead. And put them in this book with a whole new set of characters that I've fallen in love with. And it's great. It's amazing. I love in the beginning, which if you guys follow me on Instagram, you would have seen already. Where'd it go? Oh yeah. Because you know how authors have like dedication pages? His says, to my wonderful readers, sorry about that apology for the last cliffhanger. I'll try to avoid cliffhangers in this book. Well, except for maybe a few small ones, because I love you guys. Oh, Rick, you make me feel so loved and so angry all at the same time. It does indeed leave you with cliffhangers. One of the cliffhangers I thought that he was going to leave us with, he didn't. So I'm grateful for that. But I'm really curious to see if he would be willing to, like, create another 5-book series, or if he's just going to do, like, short stories, or something among that. But yeah, I feel like it deals with a lot more mythology in modern times and how the Greeks and the Romans have updated, like, to fit into modern times and things like that. Find out what I'm reading next. I am reading this book. It is called California, and it is by Eden the Pookie. I'm sorry I said your name wrong. I randomly just picked this up. I really, well, I like the fact that it's called California because I'm from California, but I really like the cover because just looking at it, I was like, whoa, interesting. But then you flip it this way and you realize it's just a landscape, but like they thought to put it on the side, and I really like the spine as well with California. And I think this one's like post-apocalyptic, and it actually takes place in LA. You guys are probably thinking, wow, what a book nerd. Yep, always and forever. And that is it. That is all I have for you guys today. I just want to share my reads because people are always asking, Jamie, what should I read? Should I read this? Should I read that? Have you read this? Have you read that? Most likely I have read them, but when I haven't, I always want to read them. Oh, before I forget, I've read another book. I think it's called The Deep Blue or something like that. Here, I'll put the title and the cover here. I read it. Oh my gosh. So good. So good. Anything with mermaids, I will read it. But the only drawback about this one was there's a lot of terminology and places and things that you have to kind of pick up on because obviously it takes place under the ocean, so it's not on land. So that is a little like overwhelming at times, but other than that, it's a really good book. I also love where the story's going. I'm currently reading the second one as well, and oh my gosh, so good. Give that a read. If you notice, I'm really into romance and mythical, and then all of a sudden you have like post-apocalyptic, but regularly always give new genres a chance because sometimes you discover things like you would have never picked up. But yeah, that's all I have for you guys today. I hope you enjoyed my book suggestions / critiques. Do you guys feel the same way about these books that I do? If you don't, or if you do, let me know in the comments below. We can start a discussion. And also, if you guys have any book recommendations that you feel that I, as just a person in general, need to read, whether it's because I'm a almost 21-year-old girl, because I live in America, because I don't live in America, because I don't live in your country, because anything. It doesn't matter what it is, whether it's religious, not religious, post-apocalyptic, fantasy, mystery, thrillers. Let me know. I am literally up for reading anything, and I'm always looking for something to read. Like, I can scour the library, come out with a stack of 20 books, read all of those books, and then still want more. So, you guys can follow me on Twitter, Tumblr, Pinterest, and Instagram. Almost forgot those. Also, don't forget to hit that button down below, subscribe to my YouTube Confetti Nation. I will throw as much virtual confetti at you as humanly possible. Also, give this video a big thumbs up. I think I already said that, but I said it again. And I will see you guys sooner rather than later. So goodbye.